It's time once again for another episode of Georgia Business Radio. Broadcasting live from the Pro Business Channel studios in Atlanta. And now here's your host, Rich Casanova.
All right, very excited for another episode of the Georgia Business Radio Show. Rich Casanova here, your host, alongside Craig Williams.
How are we doing, buddy?
Unbelievable. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Yeah.
Doing well. Beautiful day.
I'm telling you, man, it's amazing here in Atlanta. Throughout Georgia, we have some experts, actually, subject matter experts and leaders joining us here in the studio this morning for our Georgia Business Radio Show. And we'll get underway. Let's kind of jump right into it. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Are you ready, buddy?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we are going to have a gentleman from the Georgia Department of Economic. Thank you. I was going to say that.
Economic, tomato, yeah.
Last time I introduced somebody with the economics degree or what was it? Engineering degree.
Gotcha.
Yeah, never mind. All right, so having said that, so he'll be joining us in just a moment, Chris Carr, but first let's just kind of say hi and welcome to back to the show, Michael Hightower. Michael, how are you doing this morning?
Good to see you. Glad to be back again.
Absolutely. So it's that time of the year, right?
It is, and we got the expert here as well.
Oh, I'm telling you. Right?
I'm just honored to be here with you guys.
Yeah. All the pressure's on Chris if anything goes wrong.
Yeah, Chris. Hold it down.
All right. So, Michael, before we kind of get into your interview, just kind of give us a little teaser what you might be chatting about today.
Well, today, of course, we're going to talk about the 14th Annual South Metro Development Outlook Conference. And, of course, as Chris knows, South Metro has been a booming area. We're going to talk about the Aerotropolis process. The conference this year have some dynamic speakers, and looking forward to talking about it.
Well, we look forward to hearing the details. And go ahead and give us a little teaser on what's the point of contact for folks to find out about the conference.
The point of contact is smdlconference.com, southmetrodevelopmentconference.com. Go to the site, it's a lot of information. The date is Thursday, February the 18th,
okay.
7 to 2 at the Georgia International Convention Center.
Perfect. Man, you got that down. And can you drop a name or two who might be on the stage?
Well, of course, we have Pedro Cherry, who you know, Chris, Senior VP from Georgia Power, he's the new chair of the Aerotropolis Alliance.
Okay.
We also have Joe Foltz, the new Porsche top guy.
Wow.
And Joe is going to be on the panel. We've also have joining us Dave Rubin, the new publisher of the of Atlanta Business Chronicle, the new guy in town. He's back in town, rather.
All right.
Along
Well,
with that,
look, the crowd's already going wild or whatever. I'm telling you, man. Yeah.
And next year we're going to have Chris come next year.
Yeah, that's it.
There it is. You heard it on
the
you heard it on Pro Business Channel. It's a done deal. All right, thanks, Michael, for giving us the teaser and the headlines for the conference coming up here for South Metro Development Outlook. And let's jump into our first guest. And joining us in the studio, as I mentioned, Chris Carr, the Commissioner of Georgia Department of Economic Development. I got it.
Yeah.
Bam. No trophy for that one, but so you were named Commissioner of the Georgia Department of Economic Development by Governor Nathan Deal. You joined the agency November 2013. As Commissioner, you lead the state agency responsible for creating jobs. That's a good thing. That deserves a round of applause right there, man. I'm telling you, that's good stuff. And in addition to that, investment in Georgia, we've had in Invest Atlanta? Or
Invest Atlanta's been here.
Yeah.
Quite a few times.
Great partners in what we do.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. And also Georgia through business recruitment and expansion, international trade. Dang, we need to have you back.
International
we
business
do
radio.
International business radio here, which is we've had World Chamber of Commerce founder. There's correct me if I'm wrong, I think there's 81 international consulates in Atlanta. Yes or yes?
There are. Well, it is, and the exact number I'm not sure, but there's about 32 permanent and about 50 honorary, and it's a vibrant community that we have. It's great.
And those are the chambers of commerce, but then you have the consulates.
The consulars.
Yeah, because right out our window we have the French consulate.
That's right.
So we'll stop by after the show. Maybe they'll have some
croissant.
Is that how to say
croissant. Croissant.
All right, we're having too much fun. Let's bring it. Let's get serious now. So in addition to that, international trade and tourism, as well as the arts, film. Don't get me started on that, right? We want to hear about that.
Absolutely.
And the music industry. And then finally, so prior to joining, you were the chief of staff for Senator Johnny Isakson.
Isakson.
Yeah.
All right.
Too much caffeine.
You are not the first person to do that. I want you to know that.
Too much caffeine this morning. Hopefully we have time for your interview here in a moment. But
I really enjoyed being with you guys today.
Thanks again. We'll see you next time. Yeah. Man, this is a good. So you began your career with Georgia Pacific, moving on to practice law Law with Alston Bird LLP, then serving as Vice President and General Counsel for the Georgia Public Policy Foundation. And I think I said finally already, but one more. You graduated from the University of Georgia Terry College of Business, our neighbor right up the street here as well, and Lumpkin School of Law, and you live in Dunwoody, and you have a daughter, Mary Clifton.
That's right.
Welcome to Georgia Business Radio.
Thank you. Great to be with you guys today.
So let's get into it. What's on the short list? We talked about before the show. Talk to us about Tech Square and Pitch One.
Well, there's so much that's going on in the community right now, and one of the things I think the top issue, if you ask any company in any industry what they need, it's trained, reliable pipeline of workers. And what we have in this city with this network of universities, whether it's Georgia Tech, Georgia State, Atlanta University campus, whether it's Morehouse School of Medicine, Emory, but University of Georgia, Mercer, we have got a network of universities that provide an access to talent and an access to ideas. And what we have seen is in this city around Georgia Tech, around Tech Square, where our office is you've got that access. So to see the amount of innovation that's coming out in really three main areas, cybersecurity, health IT, and fintech. And a lot of which are organically grown, but they get to tap into that pipeline that's right there in downtown Atlanta, which you've got Georgia Tech, and Emory, and all the schools I just mentioned. But this access to ideas has really grown this innovation or this ecosystem of technology. What's interesting to know, if you take fintech, 70% of all North American transactions touch a Georgia company. About 25% of all revenue in cybersecurity is from a Georgia company. Wow. If you look at health IT, and again, as far as the eye can see, these are industries that are going to continue to grow. And now we're the Center for Innovation Centers too. If you've got
Panasonic,
Delta, Southern Company, we've an announcement from NCR, announcement from Comcast, Anthem, Blue Cross Blue Shield just made an announcement that they're coming. Again, all of this is because of the access and the talent that we got.
And it's in a space that's almost about the size of the dome. If you put a circumference around there, you got the innovative labs, and you have ATDC.
That's right.
You also have the Tech Square Labs
right around the
hub,
corner. Absolutely.
And a lot of development there, and the student center right there.
That's right.
Tell me this: since you've been a part of the economic development, how much do you think now the technology side has contributed to? More so than what we have a lot of the entertainment has.
That's right, which is part of it.
I mean, that's been a huge part with the tax credits and whatnot. How much do you think? How much further do we have with the tech space?
Far as the eye can see. And what's interesting too is you talk to the companies that have a presence in Silicon Valley. A lot of times we're now saying Atlanta is the Silicon Valley of the East. Or like the research. Well, you know what? Let's actually be different. We've got a lot that they don't have. We have a Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport.
Definitely.
We've got a quality of life that's a lot different. So I know what people are trying to say, but when you talk to the governor, when you talk to the Metro Atlanta Chamber of Commerce, you talk to the mayor, we appreciate what people are saying, but we're a little different. And let's be different because we have, I'm a double dog, so that it sometimes hurts me to say this, but having Georgia Tech right there, wherever we go in the world, they are a tremendous asset for this city and this state. Wherever we go in the world, companies want to pair with Georgia Tech. Everybody knows them.
So do double dogs brag on tech?
Well, they have to. They have to.
I have learned to do it, and I love my friends at Georgia Tech. I love my friends at Georgia Tech. And so, again, that's all part. But as far as the eye can see, and entertainment's part of it. But also, look at SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design, right there now downtown Atlanta.
How strategic is that? I mean, you come from the waterfronts to the inner city of Atlanta, and they are making a big splash.
That's right.
And so you have not only the technology, the graphic design, the design. I mean, there's nothing that we don't touch in the South now.
That's exactly right.
And we're the heart of not only civil rights, but we're the heart of a lot of other rights as far as businesses are concerned and their growth.
That's exactly right. And people want to be here.
Yeah.
And they succeed when they're here.
Who's the oldest tenant in that building?
Oh, gosh. Maybe ATDC. It may be ATDC, but I may not. I'll have to go back and find that out.
So you all arrived, and I think you all strategically being placed in that same space, the energy of it, the Department of Economic Development have been very intentional, not only in their geography of location of their offices, but they're right in the epicenter of what's going on in Atlanta in Tech Square.
That's right.
And I think that's to be talked about. I mean, what else do you see outside of that area that has rippled out?
Well, you see, now the incubators. You see just right around the corner. You've got David Cummings' group, and
most definitely.
And you've got you mentioned Tech Labs. What you see the West Side. Now you see what's going on the West Side, which is very, very exciting. You're starting to see it grow. And again, it's twofold. You got to create a business model. You got to make the business case for companies to be here, and we're doing that. Low tax environment, low regulatory hub. That's right, hubs. You got Hartsfield. You got this, and I'm going to keep going back. It's access to town and access to ideas here in and around that circle that you were talking about. You draw a string around the middle, and it's 2 or 3 miles. But also quality of life. People want to live in Atlanta. They want to live in Georgia, whether it's the restaurant scene, whether it's the Beltline, whether it's entertainment.
Yeah.
And this is our year of music, I want to say, also for tourism.
Yeah, talk to us about music. Correct me if I'm wrong, about $6 billion in revenue.
For entertainment.
Just for the entertainment.
And that's the film and television side. So we had about 250 movies and television shows filmed in this state last year. Mm-hmm. We went from a $250 million a year industry in 2007 to $6 billion last year.
And it's in the last 10 years. Because
it really is.
I co-founded a technology company down at ATDC, and that was about 10 years ago. And the growth in the last 10 years, if you look at any table, the growth in the last 10 years from that centering and how it's rippled out. There's no room. Right. I mean, you talked about the incubator and the accelerators and all the shared space and the roams and all those that are around. It's because of what happened in that space.
That's exactly
right there.
And gaming. We are now. There is the growth of gaming just as a whole, and the role that Georgia companies are playing. Mm-hmm. Again, that is an industry and a side of entertainment that is going to just continue to go as far as the eye can see. And we've got Asante Bradford help spearhead that for us. And he does a great job. We had the Smite Conference, which was a competition up at the Cobb Energy Center.
I heard about
Thousands of people come to compete. Mm-hmm. That's an offshoot of I grew up playing Sega and Intellivision and what. Now you're online and which is maybe a little bit beyond my ability, but it's not for a lot of folks, and it's big business.
Yeah,
and that's part of entertainment. But we had talked about this is the year of music for our tourism team, and music is a business. It's the performance side. It's also a tourism side. Mm-hmm. And if you look around the state of Georgia, Tennessee's got Nashville. They've got Memphis. Right. They've got New Orleans has got the blues, or you got the jazz. We've got everything.
Yeah.
A little bit of everything.
And we had a conversation with the folks talking about SunTrust Park, the new ballpark.
Yep.
And that's a whole other entertainment venue in itself, right?
True destination.
Yeah.
And they're going to have a great theater in there as well.
Yeah,
with technology. It's going to be
a
huge technology hub.
Yeah.
With Comcast and everything that they've done. So, again, you start seeing what's happening. This is a great city. This is a city that people want to. And let me just say, and Michael and his group, what has gone on in the South Metro is fantastic. I'll mention Porsche. Porsche decided they were up in Atlanta. They looked at about 70 different locations around the country and decided Atlanta, Georgia is absolutely the right place to be. And they have built an amazing headquarters that's also a destination. You get to drive Porsche cars around that test track.
That's a trip, yeah.
It's great. But what's also going on with Aerotropolis and the partnership, this is the true partnership. Pedro Cherry with Georgia Power, who is a tremendous partner in what we do, also in our building. Mm-hmm. If you start looking at who all the utility partners that we have.
Very intentional.
It all makes sense. And you look at what's going on in Aerotropolis, it's a great example of public-private partnership. Miguel Southwell at the airport, Delta Airlines, Joe Foltz with Porsche is just a tremendous champion of economic development in Georgia. So this is why we've been successful.
Big time. Well, this is a good segue to bring Michael into the conversation. I just want to remind our listeners you're listening to Georgia Business Radio with your host, Rich-Casanova, alongside Craig Williams. And so before we jump over to Michael, Chris, real quick, what's a good point of contact or way to folks find out about the Georgia part?
Department of Economic Development, Georgia.org is a great one. If you want to travel around the state, explore Georgia. ExploreGeorgia.org as well. So please, anybody that wants to come to our state, we are open for business, and we're happy to help.
Well, we'd love that, being pro-business. You're singing our song here. So we're going to circle back around to Chris in just a moment, but let's bring Michael into the conversation. And Michael Hightower is a managing partner of the collaborative firm and urban planning architectural support program, management, and community engagement company. You're also the founder and host of South Metro Development Outlook. And I understand this is going into the 14th year?
That is correct.
Wow.
That's
most ventures don't last beyond the 2 to 3 year mark, right?
Well,
Yeah.
I'll tell you, and of course, it's hard to follow behind the experts, so I do my best. But I have a better degree than being a double dog. I'm from Clark, Atlanta.
There you go. Bring it on.
Which is much better than being a double dog.
We'll do the arm wrestling a little bit later or whatever. Yeah.
I couldn't resist that one, but I do have 3 Georgia dogs in my firm right now, so that's
All right.
says
Yeah.
a lot.
That's a good save. Yeah, good thing it's just radio, you're not seeing the fist flying around the studio here. Yeah. No one's ever been harmed during the recording of one of our shows, so
Not
maybe
once.
today's the day. I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
We'll find out. So, Michael, talk to us about the Metro Development Outlook.
Well, a few things that Chris mentioned. We're just delighted this year. First of all, Push is the presenting sponsor this year.
Wow.
And they have been very supportive. As a matter of fact, today at noon, we have the Aerotropolis board meeting. I'm on that board as well. So
Okay.
Joe Foltz was a Push chair for the first 2 years. And a bit about Aerotropolis. We hear the term. Let me talk in layperson's terms.
Is that the airport city as well that you
Well,
use?
that's part of the concept. But
Okay.
the Aerotropolis is, of course, a concept throughout the world that provides, mechanisms and development strategy so that places and cities and counties around the airports can maximize their potential in plain terms. Ensuring that be it in Charles de Gaulle or in Amsterdam or some of the world-class airports who have maximized airports to make sure that you have the right type of upscale Class A office, hotels, and related, development. So that's the concept of Aerotropolis.
Okay. And folks can fly in anywhere around the world to just land right there, whatever. Right?
I'm going to have you at the conference next year, Chris. Will you come to the conference
We'll
next
make
year?
it happen. Yeah, we're there. It's a done deal. Yeah.
And if he can't make it,
You got me correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Craig will drop in on his personal chopper. Yeah.
So basically, we have several sessions, and one of the things that Chris talked about, Chris, this is our first year dealing with education. Ann Kramer is going to chair a panel that will include Dr. Tim Hines from Clayton State. We're trying to get Gretchen involved. We got time to confirm her.
Right.
We're working on Gretchen. We also have Dr. Thomas from Atlanta Tech. And we also have 2 of the large school superintendents
Wow.
from Fulton and Clayton County. So we have education would be because workforce continues to be one of the issues that in our post surveys, Chris, that we got to deal with. But also beyond that, we have, of course, a big focus on the millennials this year. The Atlanta Regional Commission has a millennial task force, and we're going to be focusing. We have 4 millennials speaking, one from McDonough, one from Tyrone, but 2 from inside Atlanta. So although the millennial movement is typically urban core, but there are also millennials who are younger than the 4 of us, who live in the suburbs who will live. How do we also combine what they're doing with the inner city urban core?
Well, it goes back to Chris's point about access to ideas and talent.
Exactly.
Right? If we're not feeding that, then you're going to be a dying breed, and that keeps Georgia on the forefront on all aspects. So talk to us a little bit about the who attends and what's your average attendance? What do those folks look like? And
Right. Last year we had about a little over 650 people last year.
Wow.
We averaged between, on the low side the past several years, 475, high side 650.
Okay.
Bankers, developers, financiers, government officials, of course, and also persons from the technology industry. This year there's also a big focus with Tino on the technology focus. Okay. And we're about to finalize Comcast involvement as well this year. So there's a session on technology, education, Aerotropolis, and of course we're going to highlight some of Chris's colleagues throughout the South Metro region, Al Nash, Chris Pomper, who you know Chris from Douglas County, Larry Vincent. So we have a lot of economic development folk who know what they're doing. And of course the other component will involve how we, of course, maximize the South Metro's potential. And as Chris knows all too well, this is the South Metro's time because of the airport. And Porsche has been a tremendous injection of expertise. Chris, you got
I'm glad you brought that up. What is the connection with the South Metro Development and the collaborative firm? I mean, you seem like you're the bridge, but what is the connection?
Kind of, sort of. No, really. Now, first, I was born and raised in College Park.
Okay.
And that's my hometown. I was on the city council at age 22 after I came out of Clark, Atlanta. Anyway. But beyond that, I think our firm started in 2001, representing cities, counties, developers. And it was a natural bridge. And one of the things that we found early on, Craig, was that we need to have a way in which we bring together initially folk of kindred spirits, promoting Southside, promoting the benefits. And
but
Chris,
promoting community
and development and growth. Yeah. So initially, as Chris would tell you, 13, 14 years ago, it would have been, I had to say, who's going to be on the panel? It was easy. Today it's challenging because back then it was like slow growth, but now I have folks fighting to be on stage.
Yeah,
And,
waiting list.
Well, because of the growth and the opportunity and the airport. Yeah. And Miguel Southwell has been on stage several times. Mayor Reed has done a tremendous job, and he has been involved in 3 of these. And next year, I'm going to invite him back next year with Chris, hopefully, to talk about the airport city. And by that time, we should have things out of the ground on the vertical perspective of as well as the hotels development.
Okay.
Yeah. So paint a picture, if you will, for those folks who may have not heard about it or heard a little bit about it. What's the big end game, or what was the big picture? What that will look like ultimately?
Okay. Ultimately, I think in this shaping up already. I think ultimately, initially, it was first to educate, involve, and energize South Side's economic development potential. Two, it was also to make sure that government partners, public-private, the P3s of the world can kind of engage. And I think we have done that mainly because of people like Porsche and Georgia Power and others who have really decided to invest. And also, let me just give a huge shout-out to Doug Hooker. The Atlanta Regional Commission has really put its money where its mouth is, and Doug Hooker, who has done a tremendous job. Chris, you know Doug, of course, and they have energized their staff and provided leadership to help creating CIDs, and they were the initial leg that helped formulate the Aerotropolis Alliance.
All right, and again, this is coming up next month. So, how would folks register, and tell us the time frame? And is there online, I guess, an itinerary or agenda?
Yeah.
What are some of the key subjects that are going to be kind of addressed, I guess, sir?
First question.
That's a multiple choice, by the way.
No,
Sorry.
I got it. Again, I have a Clark Atlanta degree now. I'm not a double dog. I have a Clark Atlanta degree. We're much smaller than double dogs or Georgia Tech.
I can only go one at a time. I can't do multiple.
We're going to have to bring Judy, our receptionist, in here to kind of break up this fight.
SMDOconference.com. SMDOconference.com. Thursday, February the 18th, 7 to 2. So really, we are looking forward to a great attendance. Again, the opening session will be led by Doug Hooker and myself and the local mayor. And the second session will be focused on, of course, Roger Teterow has been there every year except one. He provides the economic forecast. What does it look like? What are the trends, interest rates, jobs analysis? And also, this year we're involving Clayton State's financial arm. So we have 2 economic arms. So before the day gets started, let's get some data.
Right,
let's
exactly,
get some metrics.
Some numbers.
Let's just get away from all this glue. Let's get what are we talking about?
Yeah. Right.
And so following that, of course, we're then going to proceed on to talk about education, the Millennium Movement, as well as Aerotropolis, which will highlight the end of the day.
And are there still room for sponsors, or are you
always? We
That's
never
a loaded
close
question,
the door,
yeah.
man. We want to give people an opportunity to be involved.
Absolutely, yeah.
There
So
you
they'll
go.
just reach out to you to make that happen.
SMDOconference.com. And also, we are encouraging, we're going to have a special session for urban planners. And of course, credits for planning education. We're going to have a session for them too, because urban planning is a tremendous important value for the cities we grow, as Chris mentioned. So how we grow. The Beltline has been involved several years. We're going to, although they're not on program, they're going to be referenced. And also the film industry. On the South Side, we have 4 or 5 major industries. We featured Pinewood twice. The Walking Dead from Cayuga kind of last year. But this year we're going to introduce Ed Richardson, of course, the new soundstage project at the old Shannon Mall.
Wow.
Another big, we're going to give him a shout out and maybe a special attention on that. So the film industry keeps moving on the South Side as well.
Nice. And so I don't know if you already have a media sponsor locked in, but Pro Business On Site is a offering we can.
You know what?
We can make that happen. Yeah.
Don, let's shake hands and we work it out.
All right. We'll
no,
make it
but really,
happen.
I would like to do that.
Okay, yeah. We do on-site broadcasting, so in being pro business, it might be a good
So
fit.
market calendar, the answer is yes.
Okay, nice. I like
We
I like
got
the
it
way you
recorded.
think,
The
Shane.
question is how. The answer is yes.
Got it.
So before we bring Chris back in the conversation, kind of round things out here, Michael, share just a moment about your business and the collaborator firm, and because we're pro business, so how do folks utilize your services?
Well, first off, the firm started in 2001. We're 15 persons now. We've grown and about to open an office in Durham, North Carolina, Chris, April the 1st. And the old research triangle, as you know, urban planning. Started off assisting developers primarily regarding land use and entitlement services, but we've also grown now to serve as the planning agency of the Department for Several Cities and Counties. We serve urban planning, and also now engineering program management on the water wastewater side. So planning, program management, and development, but also community outreach, how we keep the community engaged with a variety of these projects. Right now, we're working, just last evening at Atlanta Metro College, we're working on the Fort McPherson conversion for Tyler Perry's project.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
We're involved in that on the land use planning side and also the outreach side. We're also going to be involved in another project on the south side eventually that we all heard about, but I can't announce yet. But south of 20 and also other places in DeKalb and further north. So planning, engineering, development, and community outreach.
Perfect. And feel free to bring Tyler back in the studio next time you're in. Calling him by first name as if. So how would folks reach out to you on your business venture on the
Collaborative firm.
Yeah.
Well, it's very simple. TCF, Tom, Cat, Frank, ATL.com. TCFATL.com.
Perfect.
Very simple.
Well, thanks again for joining us on the Pro Business channel. Rich Casanova again, once again for the Georgia Business Radio Show. Let's kind of maybe round things out if you all have some questions or some thoughts between y'all. But let's talk about maybe cybersecurity. You mentioned that at the top of the show. That's a hot topic. What's any updates or news flashes, or where does that come into play?
Well, one of the focus, I think, again, one of the things that Governor Deal did about 2 years ago is create what's called the High Demand Career Initiative. Basically, it tasked us, the university system, and technical colleges to go out and say, look 5 and 10 years down the line, what are you going to need? And one of the issues that came out of that was cybersecurity. Because if you look at the Venn diagram of innovation, it's in the middle of all of it. Health IT, payments,
Fintech.
Mobility, it's all right there in the middle. So the university system is working on making sure that we've got the right assets together. The technical college has been a part of that, and so is the private sector. And the Metro Atlanta Chamber, Hayla Modelmog is a tremendous champion in this city. She has done just a great job. So cybersecurity, again, with you, and the other thing let's remember, too, Augusta now has the U.S. Army Cyber Command.
Really?
So that has moved now to Augusta, Georgia, and you're starting to see private sector contractors that are moving there. You've got Augusta University that will also be a part of this. So if you look from Columbus, Georgia, where you've got TSYS and FinTech, up 400, out I-20 to Augusta, you start seeing this innovation kind of corridor that we've got. It's fascinating. And one of the things that, Michael, I thought was, again, when you look at it, you've seen economic development for a while, everybody's rowing in the same direction right now. Mm-hmm. Everybody is thinking about economic development. And we have got great leadership at the university. Clayton State's been a great partner. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Our technical college, Gretchen Corbin, having her background in economic development. But the local communities, Chris Pumphrey and I were in Leadership Georgia together. He's just such a great guy. All the communities, you start now thinking in terms of what can we do to work together. And when we leverage all of those assets rather than silo it out, this is why the metro region's booming, and this is why people want to come to Georgia. It's those partnerships, and that's what makes it so exciting.
Let me add a shout-out to his department, Rich. I think last year we honored the governor through Lee Thomas. Lee Thomas has a film. She works for you, I think. Everybody. She has been they have been so helpful to the South Side. Every year that we asked Lee to be involved, she's been involved. And we gave the governor, through her, an appreciation for his leadership throughout the country. I don't even brag. Georgia has done so much in this area. I was in Miami during the holidays, and the friend said, "Michael, y'all's governor. Who is this guy? Is he a Democrat? He's a good man. I don't care about party yet. He is delivering. Talk about that tax credit piece is so critical.
Absolutely. Well, what Governor Deal did when he came in 2011, he said, "I want to listen to business." First thing he did was the competitiveness initiative. Went around the state asking companies, what do we need to be successful? And from that, a number of things came out, including eliminating sales tax on energy usage in manufacturing. So manufacturing companies have come in. High demand, I mentioned, knowing that, every company and every industry talks about workforce. In the film industry, he has personally been involved in this, and he is passionate about building our Georgia industry. If you look at crew, I believe it's now 85 to 90% of the crew on The Walking Dead, Georgia-based. Marvel is now at Pinewood. More and more Georgia-based. Actors are moving back home. Companies are moving here. Again, the Shannon Mall project is one great example. But you're seeing it all over the city. You're seeing it in Savannah. But the tax credit that was passed in 2007, basically it's a 20% tax credit on any spend over $500,000 and an additional 10% if you market the state, which is usually just the peach logo. Well, it's a 30% tax credit. And when you start seeing the private sector investing in infrastructure. When you see Tyler Perry and what he's going to do at Fort Mac, and you're looking at Pinewood, with Pinewood, when it's built out, it's going to be larger than Warner Brothers in Hollywood.
Really?
Yeah.
Great.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I was watching
Serious?
Steve Harvey the other
Yeah.
night. I saw it on Steve Harvey's show. Is that right? I saw that.
And Steve does a lot in Atlanta too.
But I saw the preach on Steve Harvey's thing.
Yeah,
I
because
think.
they're filming it here.
Oh,
Yeah, they film
well, there we
it.
go.
Thing down at the
And
Civic
Once
Center.
again, feel free to bring Steve or the governor in here. That works for us whenever. Yeah. And I had another topic we ran out of time for, but the electric vehicle stats for Georgia are through the roof as
We're
well,
second.
right?
They
We're
have it.
second in the nation.
That's right. They certainly. And let me just say real quick: automotive. We are in the center of the North American automotive market now. Geographically, we got about 250 automotive suppliers. We have Kia that's manufacturing. We are, and it's because of the Port of Savannah, the Port of Brunswick, Hartsfield Jackson, and a great business environment.
And we did have the infrastructure too because we had two GM
That's
plants
right.
too. Yeah.
That's exactly right.
I was thinking about moving to Hawaii, but I think I'm going to stay in Georgia now.
Just visit Hawaii.
That's exactly.
All right, gentlemen, we are out of
Or
time.
explore Georgia. Explore Georgia.
There you go.
Check it out. All right. Thanks again, gentlemen. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.
Thank you again for joining Rich Casanova and our guests on the Pro Business Channel. Use the social media links here to share today's show and stay tuned for the next episode of Georgia Business Radio.